This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Gaz, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox Newscast. What's going on? This is episode 63 of the Xbox Newscast podcast. Just woke up my good friend and my excellent co-host, Gaz from Game On Daily. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent. What a day. Yeah. What a day. Yeah, I'm really excited. If you're new here, and many of you are very familiar faces and familiar names in the chat, this is the XNC Podcast. We're on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. We're also live on the Colteastwood channel. And today we have a special guest, Erica, or Ericuts for the Win, of the Backlog Podcast, a show that runs on Saturdays. And she is here to grace us with her wonderful presence to talk about the spicy and outrageous gaming news that's been going on, especially today. Erica, how have you been?
I'm good. I'm happy to be back. It's been a minute. I want to say the last time I was here, I was like barely pregnant, I think. And I was, I don't know if I told you before, but I almost canceled on you.
Yes, you did.
Because I was like not feeling good, but I made it. I was here. I had a blast. I always have a blast with Gaz as well. And it's nice to see you guys co-oping on this. This is like your co-host now, which is pretty cool. So I'm excited.
It's the next best thing to, being a pen pal with Gaz across the globe. But thank you, Erica. And, she's making it through. Soon she will have a child. So that's pretty crazy.
This month. It's wild.
This month?
The end of this month, it's August 1st. I'm like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm here, and this could be like my last show. Like I'm like guesting on and stuff. So it's gonna be good. I wanted to hang out with you guys one last time for a minute. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Everybody in the chat. Yeah,
speaking of my show, because you brought up my show, the Saturday show. We just had our last show for a while because we're going on break and. It's gonna be a few months on that, so you could watch the past episodes. But we're taking a little break on that podcast.
Oh, that's crazy! Congratulations on August, baby. Woo.
So when the show wraps, in August, baby. Hopefully, she was telling me the due date. So hopefully, you make that. Gosh, it's got to be down to the wire. I've been there a couple times. I have 19 kids.
What, pregnancy?
19. Wow.
What?
I mean, just launching this show sometimes feels like going through craziness. But
Gaz is one of them, right? I mean, that's one of the babies.
Yeah,
right?
Gaz is like a breech birth, being his best friend. Yeah. It's really great. But shout out to all the moms out there and all the dads who are checking out the show. We really appreciate it. Hit the like button if you're gonna have a good time. Today we're going to talk about some interesting, weird, quirky news bits that relate to PlayStation and Xbox. But one of the big main draws today is I'm going to call it the PlayStation v Activision legal dispute. Well, it's not a legal dispute, guys, but it is they're kind of making some moves, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But first of all, before we get started, I got to give a shout out to the channel members and veterans of the channel. I'll read these names off so quickly because I've got them almost memorized by now. They're great people. We got Raiden Blade, Verika Falon, Zener White, Poochie, Wolf Assassin, DeBlue, Devario 2 Gaming, Fault Lines, Wreak Havoc, Fox Storytelling, Rodney Coots, Gaz, Dark CMF, Betamax, Dante, Moody, good friend of mine. I can always say this. Alex Wilson, Lord Starkiller, Robert Jackson, Gamer McFly, Assassin Lupa, who is doing a lot better right here. And I hope if she's out there listening, she'll give us a little hand wave. Nano Polymyth, a good friend. Hargit Chani, one of my really, really good friends. TK Chillin, Larry Thatcher, Dub, V Simcoe, Suicide King, Udana Quezada, one of my great mods. Phil, KY Bob, William Lanza, and Matt Burns. And I have to give a shout out to Happy Bomb and Lethal Papa, who are also in the chat, taking care of all the spam bots and craziness. But thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Gaz, let me ask you first. What have you been playing? And this would be a chance for you to plug that video you put out at the beginning of the week or last week.
So I've been playing all sorts. I've been playing, again, Max Payne 3, most criminally underrated game. One of the most criminally underrated games ever. So, I've been playing that. It was great. I did a video on it and why it was criminally underrated. And our good mutual friend, Solid Rev, would have appreciated it. If he watches my video, Solid, do you watch my shoot as far as his family show?
Just spam him. Just spam him.
No.
You gotta spam him a little bit, yeah.
So I've been playing that. I've been playing Multiverses, which is taking the world by storm. Jeez, man. That game has no business being as good as it is. That is going to make, or it's already making waves. Apparently it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest fighters out there already, because it's, well, I can talk about it for ages, but I've been playing Multiverses, been playing that. Been playing Split Second, Split Second. That is a sick racer from ages ago, 2 gens ago on the 360. Hasn't got any kind of upgrade on the 360 on the Xbox, but it was for £2. Play that.
That's a dead Disney studio, by the way. That's a dead Disney studio, BlackRock Entertainment or BlackRock, something like that. But yeah, they're gone. They're gone.
Is that why I can't use the DVR for some reason on that stuff? It's weird.
Some publishers choose to disable that, but like BioShock Infinite. So weird. Yeah. We don't want spoilers out. The game's almost 10 years old. What about you, Erica? What have you been playing this past week?
What have I been playing? I went through an ending for As Dusk Falls, which was pretty awesome. I streamed the whole thing. My Game Pass was about to run out, and I'm not saying this to like put a diss on like Game Pass, but you guys know I'm gonna have a baby. I'm like, let me just end it. I'll come back. So I was like, I gotta get through this ending. I get through it, and I streamed it, and it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I'm a fan of games like that. You know, the Telltale type games, the Life is Strange, and I saw people talking about it. They're like, listen, if you like those games, you need to be playing this one. So I was like, let me stream this. And the cool thing about it, even more so with streaming, is it integrates with Twitch. So your chat can vote with you or against you, really. Like I'm the tiebreaker, but if they outnumber me, their choice goes through. And
wow.
It made for like some chaotic instances and like things going badly. And it was interesting, good time. So I beat that. I highly recommend it. Go play it. And I've been kind of dabbling, this is going to sound crazy, in Fortnite. I've been playing Fortnite kind of off and on with the friends, which is something I never thought I would ever return to. I was not a Fortnite fan, but they did the no building. So I was like, let me give it a shot. Yeah, and I like it. It's fun. It's been a good time. So I've been playing that. And Stray is the other one that I was kind of playing, which I still need to beat. Yeah, so
it hasn't been so much of a drought as we think it is in certain ways. Like I did go through a couple weeks there where I was like, and I had one game holding me over. But Eric, I actually sat down today and played Dusk Falls like for a good hour, and I don't like those type of games. And I was totally like ingrained in it. And when something happens,
we were supposed to play that together.
You and I can't even get on the phone.
Oh man, it is co-op. I think
it is very. It can be very different, but you have to make a choice. And I think, what would I do if I was there? What if that was my wife and kids, or what would I do, right? And then it's really tough. I'm like, I could be the hero, or I got to do what I would. It's anyway. Yeah. I made fun of the game. I can see it's going to be a big celebrated little game, I guess.
Yeah, word of mouth has just been going, and it's really helped. I mean, it helped me try it out. So yeah, it's a thing right now. I highly recommend.
It's a thing. Hey, and shout out to we got almost 600 people here watching the Ecstasy podcast, and most of them are here to see Gaz, and the rest are here to see Erica. Or Maybe it's the other way around. I'm not sure, but thank you so much for being here.
Gaz, Gaz is at the top.
She's glowing. You're glowing. That or your camera settings are weird, but you're glowing. You're actually glowing.
I mean, it's probably the white screen I'm looking at.
You're glowing. It's the pregnancy glow.
That's just sweat, okay? Hot.
Glistening. One of the things that I wanted to talk about early on in the show today, which I think is going to just magically come into topic toward the end, is about the Q1 for fiscal year 22's financials, where PlayStation's really down and Xbox is kind of okay with a bad year. But we're going to skip to that and mention that one of Xbox's most promising games this year, in my opinion, was Warhammer Darktide, a 4-player first-person shooter. Looks really great. Skill Up gave it great praise. Was totally bowled over by it. And they announced that they were going to delay it for 2 months, but there was a real wrench in that, just a real nasty burr in that announcement. Gaz, can you walk people through what happened to our Darktide game?
The same thing that's happened to a multitude of different games. Delayed. Been delayed. It's actually coming out on PC this November, but with soon to be released later Xbox, which me and a lot of people are taking it as, okay, so 2023 then, because that's quite late November. So and it kind of like, I think we've been talking about this and it kind of burns a little bit because it's just, one, it is already anemic for a lot of us. If you want big experiences, AAA first parties aside, like first person shooter co-op, with looking as good as Darktide did, we were very excited. We had our reaction videos. We were like really looking forward to that. And that's so any delay from Xbox is sweet now. Already bad 2022 looks really it really hurts more. So now for me, it's all on High on Life. That's where it hangs for me now.
It doesn't hang on Scorn for me. I got to ask.
Well, it's a different type of game.
Yeah, I got to ask Erica, because I know, Erica, you play a lot on PC. So here's the situation. The developers for Warhammer Darktide said, we're going to come out November 30th on PC, and then we'll release the Xbox later, which is probably early in 2023. So this is a exclusive, Erica, to the Xbox platform. So you can only get it on PC or the Xbox console.
Right.
But they've said that we're going to wait for the console version, even though it's been marketed for Xbox Game Pass. It's been marketed for Xbox Series S and X. I got to ask you what your opinion is on that, because it makes me upset.
Honestly, I wasn't really checking for this game. I'm not like a Warhammer fan or anything like that. But yeah, with it being marketed as maybe day and date with the PC version, is that what happened? It was like they're going to be the same, and then just the Xbox got delayed?
Yeah, I mean, instead of just launching, like they said, we're going to delay it 2 months, instead of launking the Xbox and PC version, they're going to say, we'll get you the Xbox version later, which... You know what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
I just want to hear what your take is on that, because some people have argued against my take.
Right. Well, Warhammer, in my mind, even though I'm not the biggest fan and I don't really play them, it to me is a PC game first. So it doesn't really surprise me. And I feel like the PC crowd is just going to be like, well, we're getting it first. That's what we get this game all the time, as we should. Yeah. So
and you Xbots had to wait.
You Xbots peasants are going to wait. And yeah, so I mean, as long as the game comes, I think fairly soon. So if it is indeed a couple months, I mean, if you want to wait for it, wait for it. I mean, you do it on the flip side of things. I like to call them the PC master wait, because they wait for a lot of things. So it's only fair, right? You could wait for one thing, right? No, but I know it sucks. Delays suck. They're worth it most of the time. Sometimes they're still not worth it. Cyberpunk, things like that. But hopefully it all works out. It'll be worth it for you guys. Time is just flying. I know that very well. So you'll get the game in your hands. But it's also on PC. So yeah, if you do have a PC, I mean, you can just play it there where it's meant to be played, right?
Yeah, Cole, you got PC.
let me speak up for the PC Master.
I know, right? I know.
Give them one. Give them a bone.
I'm the worst person to ask because I really have. I'm really cranky about playing on PC. The different issues that I get hooked up to a big TV. It's not always just working great, but that's all right. Hit the like button if you're having a good time. We're going to start talking about Activision here in a second. Before we do, Adam Sessler was on podcast with David Jaffe. David Jaffe is quite the character, and he's very fun to listen to, and he pulls no punches as he takes a puff from his custom-made pipe that Gaz sent him. I watched this clip. He's got that pipe right there. Yeah. He loves it.
No, it's so weird.
You really sent that to him?
Yeah.
Pipe? Oh, wow. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's. I mean, that's like the creator of God of War has Gaz's custom pipe that he made and sent to him, like on him at all times.
Jackie's smoking my pipes.
The creator of God of War is smoking
my smoking
pipes.
Never mind.
Just that's crazy.
Erica.
That's crazy.
Erica.
Oh my
Sorry,
gosh.
I did that in a cult way.
So,
anyway.
I mean, all pipes aside, I suppose. He was asking Adam Sessler, who people are kind of hot and cold, but I've always loved the guy. He said that he feels like Xbox fans are like adults and they just buy games and play games. And he said that PlayStation fans are like small, entitled children that insult everyone. And he said, I don't have a bias. I love PlayStation games. I play on Xbox. But he said, oh boy. And this is
something. Right.
What do you think about this, guys?
Well, her good friend J Rock shared that. I love J Rock and his tweets.
Shout out to J Rock. I gotta give him a shout out.
He says, Adam spoke the truth, says J Rock. And yeah, well, I've always said it. I always found the PlayStation fan base. I'm only talking fanboys. And maybe it's a positive bias
in the fanboy like petri dish, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was always a meme. There was a meme for over a decade ago. Like when I'm a console warrior. I love console warring. I love console warring for Xbox, which is a massive L a lot of the time because Xbox likes to shoot itself. It's my team. It's my team. I pick it. And I've always said PlayStation, the fanboys are the worst fanboys out of the PC, out of Nintendo, out of Xbox. It's always the PlayStation fanboys. These guys will go raw. Bro, how much evidence do you need? We had a doctor who was doing stuff during the operating theater. We've had like catfish stuff, like going crazy. We've got D-pics being sent that have been working.
They've done it all.
In terms of, they've done it all. Sessler and co. I will say I find it kind of funny because Sessler's had Frost, or what's her name? Frost.
Frost
is a bit of an Xbox fanboy to me. She seems like that to me, quite obvious. And I think I've always thought Sessler had a Xbox bias as well. I'll be fair. So I'm like, they will come at you because you're also have an Xbox bias. Obviously, they'll take things far, which will then add to you reacting, and then it's a cycle of sauce. That's what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, you get all these entitled people in this space giving you speeches. I see you. Oh, we need to do better. I don't want to name names. Paris Lily. But so it's just like, shut up. You're not my dad, Paris Lily. Just sitting there giving me speeches. We need to do better. You've got the job at Microsoft. You've got it, okay? Like, lay off there. And
I literally melted.
Sorry, I'm having a little rant, but you know what? I'm like you, J Rock. You know me. I love J Rock because he holds no punches. It's just fun. It's just
J Rock and I can be a little toxic once in a while, and it's good. It's good fun, but I don't know. There are crazy. More of the PlayStation fans. They outnumber. It's nonsense. It's absolutely nonsense. We got a couple supers I got to read, and welcome to the channel membership. We've got RPZD Joker with the Joanna Dark icon. Welcome to the channel. And you'd get early access to videos, except today is a rare exception when I jump out of bed and make a video and it just goes up as soon as it's processed. So other than that, thanks for anybody who checked that out today, but we're going to get into that discussion about Activision and Blizzard. Red Wolf, thank you for the $2 super, says, can't wait for the Snyder Cut version of Xbox v PlayStation.
Wow.
A little bit of DC madness. How about some DC on Xbox? All right. Hey, my buddy Web Dave, thank you so much for the $2 Outbreak podcast from Web Dave. Says, great panel. Erica is amazing. And he says, Gaz, bring the sauce.
Always, baby. Always.
Shout out to Dave.
Dave's great.
Yeah.
I did Dave's interview, and he really got a lot of personal stories out of me. It was I felt like I was on Maury Povich. You are the father, Gaz.
You are the father.
You are the father.
He interviewed me too, and it was a good time. It was awesome.
I'm gonna go check that one out. Has he got to Gaz yet?
No, he has tried. Apologies, Dave.
Go do it. Yeah, he's really fun, really good to talk to. Really great.
Yeah, definitely.
BK Born Gaming, thank you so much for the $10 super. He says, great panel tonight. Should be a great podcast. Shout out to you guys and my sister, Erica.
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
Is that one of your loyal supporters over there on podcast and Twitch?
He
and Grindr.
He's there a lot, and he's a great streamer. Super underrated. Coming up. So go check him out on Twitch.
What's he stream? What's he mostly play?
Oh gosh, all kinds of things. I think right now he's streaming Hollow Knight, which is a very difficult game. He goes there. He plays the difficult stuff. Cuphead, the DLC. He went through that. Souls games. You already know.
Talking while he does that.
Oh yeah, and
shout out to BK Born Gaming. Yeah, keep an eye out for BK Born Gaming. Percolator 9000. Thank you for the $5. Says, good evening, Colt. Congrats, Erica, for the win. I can't say Erica's for the win. There we go. Oh yeah. Hello, Gaz. Almost forgot about you. Smiles. He says, have a great show, everyone. And then one more that will get us into the big topic is from Hargeet Chani, who let me throw Hargeet Chani under the bus for the audience before we roll in. Hargeet Chani is 10% sure, or I should say he's 90% sure Activision won't pass. I don't know if he's changed that number, but he's feeling very unsure. His super.
To clarify,
we'll get it. What's that, guys?
He does think he'll go through, but not anytime soon. I think that's his position.
Yes, and he also was telling me that he thinks that he's pretty sure there's going to be some lawsuits and legal stuff they're going to have to go through before anything gets moving. And then we've got some people on other podcasts who are saying it's going to, end this October or September. So, pick your poison, right? Here's what Hargeet says. There's a rumor going around that if you offer things customers want, they might engage with your business over their competitors. This is amazing. Thanks, Sony, for sharing this profound wisdom. So, I woke up early, 6 o'clock, fed the dogs, looked at my phone. I heard about the Activision complaints or threatened feelings from Sony last night. It was on Reset Era. I don't go to Reset Era. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to hold off on if I'm incredulous on something from Reset Era, Erica. That's how I am. Like, I don't like that going there. I don't blame you. And it's a place where people just it's just worse than Twitter. Yes.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah. I never go there, so I don't blame
you. I kind of have a filter, like if it's on Reddit, if it's on Reset Era, no, right? And that's just me. I'll just wait. I'm just saying I'll wait. I'll wait a minute. So when I went to bed last night, this stuff was really cooking up on the West Coast. It was like, around 11 or midnight. And when I got up in the morning, I should have gone back to bed because I got like 5 or 6 hours of sleep, but it was starting to be reported on in the mainstream media. So I started to write a video. And as I hopped out of bed, Gaz, wait, where are you at? I don't know, over here. Yeah, Gaz. Yes, Gaz. Gaz made a video. I'm like, oh my gosh, you like right to it. And he's doing this new format where he just gathers his thoughts, turns the camera on, and then, punches the information up on screen as needed. Holy crap. pause for a second. Detective Seeds or D Crew, I have not seen you in a long time. Welcome to the chat. I saw a couple of your tweets. I think I responded to the last one, but I haven't heard from you in a while. Hope you're doing well. He gives a super chat for 20. He says, glad to be able to catch you guys tonight. Hope all is well, my dudes. Bro, I haven't seen you on Xbox in like 2 months, so hit me up on Party Chat. We got to talk. I got to see how everybody's doing. Anyway, where was I? The Gaz reported on this Activision thing. We are going to go through this sort of systematically because I watched Hoag's Law before the show because he just dropped a video. So I got to ask Erica first. You were kind of into this thing this morning. What was your reaction and how are you looking at this right now?
The Activision thing. I had to like remember what is going on because I remember, yeah, they're going to be in the process of. Am I pointing somewhere? No, I guess.
Sorry. No. Chief 117 is confusing me. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, it's fine. That it is in the process of them acquiring them after a certain couple of games that are still on contract. Correct? Like that's kind of like the thing. And I remember people were worrying about that, like, oh, it's only going to be on Xbox or whatever. But then Xbox came out and said, like, no, they're still going to have it on PlayStation. It would benefit them to have it everywhere because they're in the business of making money, right? So I kind of thought this was like dead already, like this kind of like debate or whatever. But then I guess these quotes and articles started coming out, which I kind of went over, where they said Sony. I mean, this is the titles that they're using. Sony worries players could jump to Xbox if Microsoft owns Call of Duty, because Call of Duty, whether we like it or not, is still a behemoth. It still sells. It's still always in the top 10 sold for the year.
Even at its worst.
Even at its worst. And granted, this year is looking a little better because I did like Modern Warfare 2 and for it to be remade, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of interested. And I know others are as well. So I don't know if that has to like do with it as well to kind of like, oh, it's going to be really good this year. And then, but it's coming out everywhere. So I'm still on the fence or on the part of like, what's kind of the big deal? But I guess these articles, when they come out with these titles and they come out with these headlines, it scares people and they go in defense mode. And I've seen tweets floating around where there's Sony fans or fanboys, we should say, saying, don't support
Sony
Call
fans.
of Duty. Yeah, don't support Call of Duty anymore because it puts money in Microsoft's pockets. And it's like, you already know. We were talking about it earlier, Colt. As far as like the worst fanboys, and I was gonna jump in on that, but I guess I'll do it now. Like they can be the worst because when they say things like that, they would rather not enjoy an experience they've been enjoying if they're a COD fan than to support anything that's even touching Microsoft. Whether it's
I gotta throw something in here because
whatever.
I gotta throw something because Paris is in the chat. If he's still here, so somebody said something about, if somebody tweeted out something like you just said, Erica. They said, I feel like if PlayStation and Nintendo were the only ones, gaming would be just fine without Xbox. And Paris's reply to him was, you'd be looking at $100 games and $1,000 consoles without the competition that you get from Xbox or other competitors. And I saw that tweet. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is like a napalm grenade of truth. Where it's people literally say, don't support Call of Duty so Xbox can die. And like right now, Xbox is doing really well. It's like nipping at the tailbone of PlayStation. Like they're on their heels right now and they're really threatened and they got to make the right moves. And they're still charging $70 for games.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other freaking thing. But yeah, no, they're completely right. Yeah, you need competition. Like even if you're a full-on pony, right? They call them pony, all you play is PlayStation. You should want competition because it's going to make your platform of choice better. You know, and I think they're just a lot of them, or some of them, are just very afraid of becoming Xbox. This has been going for years. We talked about it before. Just games going to PC. Games that's not games as a service, but just services, like Game Pass. They are so afraid of that happening to their platform. But people who play on Xbox and play these games and just play games to play them. They don't care where they're at. Like someone like me, for example, it's just it's not a bad thing. Like I always try and like preach that. Like there's no reason to be scared. You know, everybody's doing okay. But yeah, I have been seeing those tweets of like, it would be great without Xbox, or it'd be awesome if they died. And it's just like, what? No, it would not. Because then you have this one behemoth that's just going to do whatever they want because there's no competition.
That's exactly why this regulatory discussion happened with Brazil about PlayStation coming up into market against the Activision Blizzard acquisition and Game Pass. And let me start the preface for this, because Hoag's Law illustrated very well that Sony is trying to paint a very dire and desperate and dark picture of Xbox acquiring a behemoth like Activision and Call of Duty. And with Game Pass, which we'll get into that in a little bit, they're trying to paint the picture that Call of Duty is so massively huge, guys, that it is in itself is a monopoly. Let's talk about that, because you covered this a little bit in your video, but Hoag really started out his discussion that Call of Duty is so what's the word, guys? Like it encompasses the FPS shooter, and not many could touch it.
Well, and he's right, because monopoly. Sony, you know, for as par for the course, where damage control or copium, or the, you know, when that happened, they put their mask on their Call of Duty. You don't need Call of Duty. It sucks anyway. We got Destiny. It's not. So it's a load of. But it's like, okay, and then they've been downplaying it. They've been coping with it. And like, Call of Duty is not relevant anymore. Blah 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 nonsense. And then, you know, what I call this is the destruction of multiple narratives, because this is coming from Sony. This is not coming from us. This is them saying it. And you have to bear in mind, Sony has the numbers. Sony has all the numbers and the metrics there. And they did not hold back, because they have to make a plea to any regulatory or governing body if they want to prevent this. So their plea comes from a position of, look, this is true. So they're saying Call of Duty is so big, it stands out as a gaming category on its own right. That's how big it is for Sony. And they know it. Why do you think money hatting so aggressively, especially COD? They're like, literally, that's the first thing they did, was they reached out to Microsoft. You're not going to make this exclusively. Honor our contracts, yeah? You're going to honor our contract? They're just sitting there shivering. Because
they're like the guy that runs into a party. Is my girlfriend in there?
Is my girlfriend? What? Well, basically, that's the equivalent of what's happening. You just see them and they just go... And that's what's happening. They're literally shaking in their boots, and there it is. Look, despite all of everything, they say that there are only a few developers, AAA developers that can produce AAA games of this scale. They cited EA, Take-Two with Rockstar, Epic Games, and said even then, they still can't do COD. They say you can't replicate COD. They say they believe that Call of Duty is so popular. COD is so popular that it influences people's choices of console. That's big, man. Like they said, in fact, the network of loyal, this is translated by someone at Researcher. He says, in fact, their network of loyal users is so ingrained that even if a competitor had the budget to develop a game like this, they just wouldn't be able to, which makes sense considering the legacy of the game and how much time is built goodwill in the brand and what the name means and all of that. So,
yes, it's literally like every year building a Last of Us game with multiplayer, because I'll let you finish, but I don't want to stop you, but they're talking about 1,000 or 2,000 employees and a budget number that is like in line with The Last of Us Part 2, but they're doing it every year. So go ahead.
Absolutely, and it's a big thing, man. And every time it sells like mad. Even the last one, which was not that good, Vanguard, sold well as well. Like, well, they're not probably poorer compared to other CODs, but still was on the top of lots of sales charts. And it's just like this COD, by the way, is going to be big. Modern Warfare 2 is going to sell like mad. So, that's going to hurt as well. So they're feeling the hurt there. So they're not pulling any punches. Sony's being just trying to plead, look, man, we can't do this. This COD is so important to us. You deprive us of and then they go on to the pricing of the thing and say, angling it that way. They're trying to say, because it's on a subscription service, we can't compete because people base their. This is so ironic.
Ironic
ironic that they're absolutely, because they are making
their fans
an
said the opposite. Their fans have said the opposite. Go ahead.
This is the destruction of narratives so bad. Why have you seen the PlayStation extremists just quiet? They've been so quiet, apart from little Nicky, but he's a special case. He's been slapped all over again.
Little marsupial.
Yeah, he's
which one is Nicky?
Nick Marsupial. Nick Marsupial.
Nicola. Okay, yeah.
Nicola.
Remember Erica's meme?
That's you need to watch.
I have
Erica's
that as a soundbite on my.
Was that the last time you were on my show and you made the Nicola thing? I think it was. You did that day.
Maybe, yeah. I don't remember.
Or we were on a show together.
Something.
I can't remember.
Maybe it was Gaz's show.
Yeah, it was. That's all the same.
Yeah, it's true.
But it's like Nicola. I'm blocked you, man. I didn't do anything to you. But anyways,
he
carry on.
You. Oh no! What? He doesn't block us. He loves our content. Oh man, it's But so
it
just to bring it back,
you're saying it was ironic. You're saying it's ironic about how they're selling it to you for $10 a month or pay upfront one-time fee, right? So go ahead.
They say the subscription services compete with games purchased for a one-time fee. So you pay full price. That's competing, and they say the lowest upfront cost services will be anti-consumer because of that. Because people are going to go towards Game Pass. That's all they're talking about is Game Pass. People are going to buy on Game Pass. So they're basically saying COD cannot be on Game Pass because it's anti-consumer. Oh, and also it will reduce the quality of the games.
Hold on. We'll
absolute.
A lot of people think that, man.
We'll get into that. Hold on. I don't want to jump too far ahead. Let me grab a couple of chats here. We got Element Appeal. Thank you so much for the $5 services. Before we talk Sony, saying no one can make a Call of Duty competitor is Medal of Honor for sale. Medal of Honor from like 2010 on the 360 was so good, but the one after it, Warfighter or something, I didn't like, but
it declined a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't touch Call of Duty. But I was talking to Zocker87, who's in chat. Shout out to Zocker, who's awesome. He was talking about some of the big shooters that weren't even mentioned because they kept comparing it to Battlefield. They said on Facebook, people like Battlefield this much, and on Facebook, they like Call of Duty this much. And I was reading that in my video. I'm like, oh, dear heavens. Like on Facebook, of all people. It's where I play Farmville. But no. I did, in 2010, have a massively crippling addiction to Farmville.
Really?
Yeah, on my phone, on mobile only. It was my kids called me Farmer Dad, and it needed to be stopped. But we got Assassin with the $5 super says, is it bad I want Xbox to acquire Square Enix just for Phil to say we own Elder Scrolls, Call of Duty, and Final Fantasy? Won't happen, but still. Yeah. J-Rock in the chat. J-Rock with a $2 super. My gremlin for hire and my gremlin in need. He says, shout out to the panel. Gremlins, hit that like button. Yes, please hit the like button if you're having a good time. We are going to dive deep into this Activision v PlayStation discussion. We're going to break down some of it was very surgical how they laid this out to frighten regulators. Really? Am I allowed to say that, Erica?
What?
Frighten regulators?
I mean, they really want them to go, what? They're doing what? We can't allow.
Well,
that's, I mean, that's journalism.
Gamer by Choice with the $5 says, and I'm going to go to Erica here in a second. Gamer by Choice says, Erica, fanboys are funny because they're like Highlander. There can only be one. Or Mortal Kombat. Finish them. They do not want competition. It's just great show.
Oh, yeah.
Target Johnny.
True.
It is so true. Imagine if Xbox said, you know what, PlayStation fans, you win. We can't make, an over-the-shoulder sad dad game. We're out. We're out. It's over.
Dad game.
It would be horrible.
Yeah. It really would. I mean, that's just common sense. I mean, you need competition. That goes with everything. I mean, anything in life, like food or whatever. If you want you have your favorite places, of course, your favorite products you consume, and whether it's phones or whatever. If you had no competition, you wouldn't get better apps or better features and better quality of life things. And it always boggles my mind but it is a fanboy thing, and that's probably why it boggles my mind, is because I'm not there with them. I don't get it. I just
they're literally getting a better value with PS Premium and Essential because of Xbox. Otherwise, they would still be getting the PSNow offerings. But Hargeet Johnny with a $5 says, essentially, Sony sees the writing on the wall. Xbox will become the casual gamer box and will sell more than PS5. PlayStation poked the bear, and they responded. I don't know if Xbox will sell more than PS5. Xbox is giving you every reason to not need to buy. Their marketing kind of is like, you don't have to get an Xbox.
Yes,
like that's, isn't that? They're like, we have the American Girl doll.
You do that with your mouth. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, the doll.
Yeah, they've got the marketing team's like, time for a tweet, and they're like, the new American Girl doll with Xbox accessories. Yes, that's what we get sometimes. Raiden Blade with a €5 or £5 super says, ABK went to Microsoft, not the other way around. That's a good thing to remember. He says, where is Final Fantasy VII? Sorry, Sony, you can't stop this acquisition now that you're having your play used on you. Shh. He says, even the box art and the PlayStation marketing said PlayStation exclusive on Call of Duty features and promotions because they had exclusive and early map packs. So they blazoned the words exclusive to try to make people think this is the only place to get Call of Duty. So, all right. So I'll read two more and then we'll get into the next one. I'll go to Erica on the next one. We got DS Omen. Thank you for the 5 says, ignore if already discussed. Do you think the acquisition is more or less likely after the FTC just blocked Meta's VR acquisition? I was talking to Hargeet about this, and he thinks that is going to cause a problem, that maybe regulators are kind of like, I don't know about you tech. You're getting a little greedy. Gaz, let me ask you that real quick. Have you followed this? Meta's VR, they just raised the price of their headsets. I didn't follow this because
yeah, I mean, it was Hoggy who actually brought it up to my attention on the show and Go Live, and actually it's very important. And Hogue Law's got a video on it as well. Check out Hogue Law. He's really good at this. He's a mergers and acquisition specialist, so he talks about this, covers it quite really well. But the TLDR version of this is some FTC basically were blocking Meta from venturing into a VR space with some fitness app, and that kind of and they were, in my opinion, and so was Hoggy, and I think a lot of people overextending themselves by saying, you know what, it's easier. Why don't you just build the app yourself instead of buying this fitness thing? And I'm just like Beat Saber as well, I think is part of this. And I'm like, what? You're set up for anti-compete stuff. Why? I mean, VR is not even it's barely in the space unless the FTC is forward-facing and looking into the future and saying, well, if I do my Minority Report thing, then this could be a problem. So, and the FTC, remember, I've always said this. It's a political exercise. They want to make an example of it. They've been beating their chest. We are going after the tech industries. So what chance do you think Xbox has of coming out of this unscathed? You think they're going to let just the sheer optics of the news reports that Microsoft just gets to plow through a $70 billion deal with any resistance is going to be, the notion is crazy. And this is where I was arguing with people. People were like, oh no, it's going to be done by summer of this year. I'm like, yeah, okay. No chance of that happening. And Microsoft has very heavyweight lawyers. They also have all their tendrils in the politics space. You have to, if you're as big as they are, but expect there to be problems. I can't even say I was pretty confident the deal would go through anyway. I will say, I am on the table, man. Like, this can go either way. It's going to be a lot of fun observing how the ups and downs are coming. It's going to be the ponies celebrating, like, oh, look, FTC's really, this deal's not going to go ahead. It's going to go like this. This is my crystal ball. It's going to look at one point like the deal's going to collapse. And then Xbox, then they'll be like, oh, no, hold on. Little respite. Oh, no, it's going to go ahead. Xbox get happy, ponies get happy. Xbox get happy, ponies get happy. And then it's going to go through. And when it does go through, I will be pregnant with Colt's child.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh. Oh my gosh, Gaz really knows how to put the cherry on the top of the cupcake.
I didn't expect that.
Raiden Blade has one more, and it sounds frustrated. I don't blame him. Everyone, even Hogue said it. Everyone said out loud, "Who in the heck is PlayStation of all people to complain about exclusivity when they've literally been trying to keep anything they can, even delayed Star Wars games?" He says Sony blocked third-party IPs from Xbox. Where is Street Fighter V? Where is Final Fantasy VII Remake? All the IP they blocked from Xbox. Shut up, Sony. Enjoy your tonic, he said. And then my good friend Gaming Forte, who always keeps it on the level and always keeps it chill, he says, never knew you could purchase a product and shouldn't expect to gain an advantage over said product. I guess Sony forgot their transgressions from last gen. Yeah,
Sony,
I put out.
Can we go on Sony for this? This is BS, man. Like, why are they even in their own statement, they're contradicting themselves. So in their statement, they say, "Oh, players make their choices to buy games based on what game pricing," which is so ironic considering. And this is Brazil. This is in the Brazilian governing body. Do you know how? We have so many Brazilian viewers who tell us, like, there is no way, based on how the currency conversion happens, that we can even afford to pay for $70 games for just one game. It's ridiculous. It just doesn't work with the economy and the translation of the dollar there. And that's why Game Pass is huge there, especially on PC, because that's where they primarily play. So they're saying, Sony says, it's the price that's really, they make the judgment of price. Game Pass is going to be very anti-competitive. Oh, it's going to harm consumers by reducing quality of the games. What about the consumers' bloody wallets that you just completely disregard, especially in Brazil, where you're going to pay this stupid price? It's most pro-consumer move out there, really. Let's be honest. And unless you can prove without any, what's your substance to prove that the reduction of quality of games nonsense? You quite in your video today, you talked about what happened last year, and that it's a complete fluff argument because you've got Publisher of the Year
and it's backfired on them. Yeah, we're gonna get into that because it's their plan, and the ones that their loud fan base cries from the rooftop saying this is the way has been backfired on them. I gotta take this to Erica, the next one, and shout out to 1,100 people are here watching XNC podcast. If you're having a good time, get the like button up. Just
hit that.
Yeah. If you're on the phone, you can just move the chat, hit the like button. It shows support for the channel, and it shows support for Gaz, my amazing co-host, and for Erica for being here to be a special guest, because I'm taking her on the next one. Yeah. But yeah, thank you all for your support. Erica, here is the next little piece of thing that Sony seems to be worried about. They said, PlayStation, that Call of Duty is really popular, and I think you get more people playing Call of Duty on a PlayStation than you do an Xbox. They said Call of Duty is so popular that people will choose where to play where that game is, and it'll make it their console of choice. So what are they trying to say there? What are they afraid of? What do they think is going to happen?
I guess they're afraid it's going to be exclusive or it's going to be on Game Pass. And I've been listening to you guys talking right now, and just I hear it, the flip-flopping, right? You got the whole exclusivity matters. It's very important. And then now when it's on the other side, this is the bad thing. This is a monopoly. We're in trouble. This is not good for consumers and things like that. So, I mean, we know how the fanboys get down, but as far as like Sony though, that's what they're known for. I mean, that's really what they're known for. So I mean, I'm not surprised these statements are coming out, and fans are kind of freaking out and stuff. But remember back in 360 and PS3 days, I think you guys mentioned it already about the DLC. Remember, it would come first to Xbox. And I remember that not being the reason I had my Xbox for Call of Duty, but that was like a nice little touch. Like, oh, cool, I get the DLC. Like at this date, I don't have to wait.
Yeah.
But I do remember back then some people preferring Xbox because of that. That was a big deal. That was a big deal to get those maps and DLCs early and stuff like that. So that's one thing. But we're talking about Call of Duty launching on both platforms, which, yes, it's a big franchise. Call of Duty is the reason people, even some casuals, we should say, even own consoles. That's like all they play.
The only game, yeah.
They'll play that and like Madden or NBA 2K or something, and that's their whole year.
I grew
that's
up
really
with
all they do.
A guy I grew up with and went to junior high, high school, and everything. I talked to him like a few years ago, and I brought up Xbox because I'm not sure if my high school friends play. He's like, "Oh yeah, I play Call of Duty." I'm like, "Do you play anything else?" He goes, "No, I just buy Call of Duty when it comes out every year. That's what my Xbox is for." And I'm like, I won't say anything. He'll think I'm a nerd.
Hardcore nerd that plays everything. Yeah.
So games Erica, I was playing Multiverse with my friends. You get to play Shaggy. Shut up. Erica, what did Phil say? Like when they first showed their intent to buy Activision, he spoke up immediately about Call of Duty.
You're talking about him reassuring that it's not leaving the other console. It's not going to leave the competition. Yeah, I remember that. And he, the thing with Phil, I always find it funny. Like whenever he speaks on things and he gives quotes, and this has always been such a thing. Handsome. Yeah, besides that, he's Daddy Phil. Yeah, besides that, once I get past that. And I actually read the quote. No, I it's just such a thing. Every time he comments on anything, it's like here comes a billion videos, a billion articles, a billion tweets of like, oh my gosh, Phil said this, and
Phil sneezed.
Phil, yeah, you did this and that, and it's just like, yeah, I do remember that, and nothing has changed, right? I mean, that's been what he said and answered.
He was spot on in everything, and he said, by the way, and I will go into it, but he's spot on.
I want to go into it for a second. Maybe I'll start with Gaz. I don't know if you remember what his quote was, or if it's something you could find on the internet in 3 seconds, but I'm going to propose a crazy idea that Phil is mincing his words just for now. Because my good friend Dealer Gaming, who has an amazing Xbox channel, he says his take is, I'll just paraphrase him, but I think Dealer's take is Phil's like, yeah, we'll keep it on PlayStation until I feel like it. That's kind of where Dealer's sitting. But Gaz, what if Phil's like, we're going to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation, and then he leans over and goes, I think I might have said this earlier, but I when I say that, I just mean Warzone. Like,
a lot of people say that. I disagree with that. I don't think that's what they're gonna do. I don't think they need to do even more. But a lot of people again are resolute. That's what it means. You don't know how to read between the lines. You're being naive. I'm like, well, you're not there. And
give me reason and give me
retrospectively make things unlawful as well. They can reenact, like they can go back, like Facebook's acquisition of WhatsApp. They're literally going back into that. They're running through a whole hassle with that.
of claims. I mean, Phil just made a statement. He didn't take a legal agreement. They don't even own them. He has no right to say anything like it. Our intent is to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation.
That's the big word.
Gaz, give me your reason and then give me your possible answer.
Look, ultimately, they've made that statement. It was addressed to the FTC. Now, when they're going to make representations to the FTC, they're going to have that printed out. All right, well, this is in our bundle. Here you're talking about, this is what you said. And so, so doubling back on what we said in our public statement, this is what we're going to do. And they're going to have the hard time convincing the FTC. And one of the primary things to entice them, the big point to push this deal through is COD is going to be not exclusive. If you think the FTC is not going to look into the detail, I'm like, oh, okay, fine, yeah. No, they're going to be like, oh, what does that mean? Does that mean every Call of Duty going forward? Does that mean every Diablo going forward? Every World of Warcraft or update or whatever? So Xbox, I am of the position they will make COD. Maybe that changes in maybe 5-6 years where COD's popularity dwindles or morphs into something it's not at the moment, or another competitor comes to the space and that's not an issue. But ultimately, Xbox getting that day and date on Game Pass is basically exclusivity anyway. So even when the day it got announced, and I made my source video. Yeah, even when I made my source video, I was like, even if it's not exclusive, you're getting it day and date on Game Pass. Do you know how crazy that is? You're going to get it for the cost of your subscription. Everyone's going to pay 70 quid.
Erica, is PlayStation just as worried, like Gaz says? Are they just as worried about the Game Pass prospect as they are of possibly getting an exclusivity deal?
I was told Game Pass is a fail. I was told it don't make no money.
Oh yeah.
What happened to that? I thought Game Pass was irrelevant. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's quite funny you mentioned that. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah.
That is also a part of the breakdown.
Yeah. Yes. So another narrative completely destroyed with an orbital strike precision from Sony itself. Sony says Game Pass has grown to capture 60 to 70% of the global sub market. 60 to 70%. And then they go on. So that was a killer because just this week, just a few days ago, the source video is coming. I've got the receipts. People were like, because they rolled up PlayStation Plus and whatever now together. They were like, PlayStation Plus is the biggest subscription.
Let's be fair. Like they've made it really, really good, and because of this, so they're doing a good job.
They're doing a good job, but it's like you're saying, oh, no, Game Pass is flash. And then you got Sony saying it's the biggest sub-service. Not only that, they say that in order to create an effective rival to Game Pass, you would need to take several years with massive investments to even make that possible. Sony's just said, just take the L, put it inside me. You know what? I'll do it for you. This is the facts of the whole
turn
thing.
The corner.
Narrative destroyed. Sony like said, what are you gonna do, fan base? We're gonna do Sony fanboys. You're gonna go against your father's PlayStation. We're gonna do.
Okay, hold that thought. We've got some chats of people who want to hear have their voice heard on this, and there is some celebration, there is some frustration, but the voices will be heard. We got see if I lose my place here. Raiden Blade was talking about the Meta thing. He said the reason the FTC blocked Meta is because of Meta's history, and Facebook has a very troubled history, and they've been in the hot seat for quite a bit. But Microsoft and Xbox, not so much. I don't know how much that hinges on how they'll go. But Dark CMF, my good friend, you give a $50 super chat. You don't have to do that, but you know what? Nice. I'll get dessert or dinner next time. Next time we head to crud, what's the name of that restaurant in LA we went to? I don't remember. Hargy will mention it, but we'll go out sometime. He says Sony says we cannot only have our games on console. It is not enough. While buying the ability to keep third-party games only on their console, A, has to cost them a premium, or B, those devs have to know they can't stay on one console. Not enough. So this is part of what we need to get into, because they're selling their exclusive for $70, Erica. And we just learned, because we didn't get into the quarter stuff in the beginning of the show, but we just learned that PlayStation had a really good year last year. They brought out a bunch of exclusives in that fiscal year in quarter one. and their players were playing less and they were buying less. And that has nothing to do with the supply chains. Those games were available on the PS4. So I can only take, well, I mean, what do you take from that when they say that they're, charges $70 for games and they're too expensive for them to make?
So, I'm confused because so you said they had a great year, right?
Well, yeah, I know that is confusing. They had a lot of games. Like they had a great first party output, but their numbers in the fiscal report show that their numbers were down in player engagement and the amount of money they brought in, which just illustrates to me, and I'm hoping Gaz agrees that I'm going the right direction, is that they invested this money in first party AAA exclusives only on a PlayStation console, and they didn't make their money back.
The return.
Only Solid Rev bought The Last of Us 2. That's why. For $150.
No. So I guess it's one of those things where it's like there's a lot of quantity, so kind of they did well as far as output and putting games out, but as far as revenue being made back, because they do spend a lot of money on their games, the Last of Us 2s, the God of Wars, whatever, which are great games, by the way. But I mean, I could see. I don't know what else to really say on that. I kind of wanted to comment on what we were talking about before real quick, because you guys caught me in a good time. Last week, I don't know if you noticed, man, I was getting attacked on Twitter, being called a pony, being called a Sony girl, because I had a Sony shirt, and it's like, what
was that about?
It's a long story. It's a long story. They tried to say it's karma that KOTOR is like being delayed indefinitely, even though I didn't. And then they tried
to look back, and you showed receipts that you were playing Gears and Halo.
Yeah, everyone knows that. But so I was like, I'm gonna go on Colt's show. We're gonna be a full-on Xbot. I'm gonna be an Xbot right now. F these ponies. Yep. They flip-flop, right? I don't know. No, I mean, because I recently, I was talking about, I've been playing Stray, right? This is just kind of a side tangent, but it kind of comes together with this. I had a lot of people hitting me up on Twitter like, hey, you should get it on the PS Plus, the second tier or whatever. I was like, no, I think I'm going to buy it because, I don't want to spend money on that or whatever. I want to own it. So what happened? We went from you should support the developers. Game Pass is trash, right? You shouldn't be saving money. And now I was getting hit up with similar faces saying, get Stray on PS Plus. Use that tier because it's a great value and it's this and that. And it's like, well, what happened to what you're saying before? So, it's like this thing of, it's just such a flip flop. I know I'm kind of getting back off tangent to the last thing, but
it's all. It really is all about this
happens.
Ironic narrative. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's just such a when it's not there on their preferred platform, it's bad, and when they have it, they celebrate it and stuff. So, but as far as going back to what you were talking about, Cole, the sales and stuff like that, I don't really have much to say on that. I wasn't really so aware of that. I don't follow sales too much and stuff.
They don't matter. They don't really matter to us as long as they have the money to continue to make more games, or as long as the game sells enough that you enjoy that it'll get a sequel or they can make something new, right?
Yeah.
But,
that's sales, all I care about.
Sales.
Again, in the state when they talk about the importance of active users as well, like so this is again, it's like the sales metric is out of date with Shuei Yoshida saying it, and now they're saying it again. Why do you keep hanging it? Because it's the last bastion. It's the last bastion. Sales was doing well on Xbox. Oh, but the supply constraints. And it's just like constant goalpost moving. But when Sony is saying what it is with such this is why it's such a big deal. It's like what Sony has said, it isn't a shock to any of us. We knew all of this, by the way. We've been saying it for ages. COD is a force. You can't ignore it. Everyone's going to be buying on Game Pass. That's a big deal. Like Hargate's saying, he thinks that that's going to have a massive impact on sales. That's absolutely it will. Sony agrees with them, and at the same time about Game Pass as well. Like it's just in conjunction, those two are too big. Monthly active users. All of this is making the news waves because Sony has completely confirmed everything that Xbox has been doing. You shared a GIF earlier this week where Sony's literally like Mr. Bean copying. This is going to probably fit into my source video. Just copying the notes from the other guy. That's a brilliant episode, Mr. Bean. By the way,
it's so good.
I love Mr.
It's so
Bean.
good. And that's what Sony's doing. Sony's done it. 10 live service games. You didn't even buy The Last of Us 2. 10 million. And how many PlayStation 4s are out there? Or PS5s? 120 mil or something stupid? And 10 million? Colin Moriarty brought it up. So that just made it even more hit the hammer home. It's like, remember this is where I'm saying Phil Spencer was always right. Phil Spencer got it in the neck. So let me just go still on a tangent. Phil Spencer got destroyed for saying from the Xbox, from the PlayStation community for saying games like Horizon Zero Dawn don't have the same impact as they did before. Remember this? And everyone's like, oh yeah, you think single player games don't matter anymore? He goes like, yeah, they'll be few and far between. Some of them will stand out, but and the irony is because not every game is like The Last of Us, not knowing in the future The Last of Us Part 2 would actually not even sell as much by its own, on its own accord. He talked about live service games. He talked about that. And I've got the quote here. He goes like, the audience for those big story-driven games, I won't say it isn't as large, but they're not as consistent. You'll have things like Breath of the Wild and Zero Dawn that'll come out, and they'll do really well. Ironically, Breath of the Horizon is only really doing well because it's forced bundled with the PlayStation. That's why it's doing well. They're relying on those numbers. Huh?
Whose quote is this?
This is Phil Spencer 2017.
I remember this.
Yeah, they're not as good.
Oh,
you'll have things like Breath of the Wild.
It's funny how that all echoes back. They're doing that right now. Yeah.
And then it goes on. He goes, but they'll do really well, but they don't have the same impact they used to because big service-based games are capturing such a large amount of the audience. Now, fast forward today, was not Phil Spencer right? Because bloody Jim Ryan has come out to say that. Exact same thing. 10 live service games. Why are they churning that out? They have said it's come out of their mouth. Monthly active users come out of their mouth. Game Pass is big. Come out of their mouth. Call of Duty is a force. Come out of their mouth. So you've got complete destruction of every narrative. Your single player sad dad games aren't selling like they are. Multiverse is making a big splash.
It's such an easy fix. Like, they made Horizon Forbidden West, which costs a ton of money. Gran Turismo 7 cost a ton of money, and they made money on it. But they're looking at this like, gosh dang, like we should be making a lot more money on these games. And the answer is smacking them right in the face. Launch it on PC, you morons. Launch it day and date on PC. You're already there. Your biggest, most popular games are already on PC. Put Horizon Forbidden West and Gran Turismo and God of War Ragnarok on PC ASAP. Right?
It's not that hard. Why do you think they're going to do that? They're going to do it.
They will. They have to. But they're still warming up the pot with the frog in it. Let me read a couple of supers here. Oh, it's ridiculous. Legendary 4 with the £5 super says, I do find it hypocritical that Sony of all companies are complaining about the Activision deal when they keep games off of other platforms. Yes, he said something a lot of us said and that everyone else is thinking. Thank you, Legendary. Assassin with the $2 says, plot twist, Xbox makes Call of Duty exclusive to the Nintendo Switch. Mike with a Canadian
it's going to be 20 frames per second.
Can you imagine
Pixelated.
Digital Foundry digging into that? We're like, well, here we go. We're gonna
Richard Ledbetter just having a stroke as he's playing this.
That Switch would blow up. Okay,
John Linneman starts barfing. Oh my gosh, on the Switch.
Thing would blow up.
I was talking to Zocker today. I said, and I've said this for years, but Zocker and I were talking today that if Nintendo built a console that was powerful enough to play Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, Battlefield, and every other major multiplat, like it could be the only console you need. Steam Deck at 40 frames per second
is a beast.
Oh man,
Mike with a Canadian $10. What's that?
Not 40 frames.
I said not the 40 frames.
Not the 40 seconds.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything, Alex. Alex.
I love it. I love it. Alex is it's classic example. People grab the headline and they just run. And it was right there, like 7 words away.
Mike, can we quickly talk about that?
Should we get into that? I gave him a hard time a little bit.
Just a little bit.
You want to get in? You want to get into the 40 FPS or the way that
very quickly? Alex,
All right,
bless you. I know what you're saying, and I said it in the tweet, and you do it to cover your ass. I know it. I know. I do the same thing.
You do the same thing to me. You're like, you treat my tweets like they have to hold up in superior court.
100%. That's the attitude you should have. You should always have that attitude. Why do you think I completely destroy Nicola? Because that guy doesn't think. So it's so easy to do so. But you have to future-proof your arguments. Yeah. But good old, oh no, it's Alex. Alex, I understand your tweet. And I know you said 40 FPS should be the new baseline.
No, we didn't.
Not 30, not 30 frames per second. If it's going to happen, if console's going to do it, it should be 40, not 30. That's what he said.
Yeah, if that's going to be their aim as developers.
It's the aim,
it's
if they're going to do 30, might as well make it 40.
Which is common sense. I mean, it's...
Yeah, it's like, all right, obviously, Alex, go for the highest number. Yeah, but Alex, and I can't wait to see your video Wednesday, there were shown receipts, 60 FPS or dead, 60 FPS or dead. So why are you espousing on redundancies, huh? Why are you doing that? That's the thing. I wish Alex was here. I would hold him in my arms. Actually, he's quite big, so he'd hold me in his arms. But as I'm breastfeeding, he would understand that I would bite down and I'd say, no, you said it's 60 FPS or dead. You said it.
But it doesn't work that simply on console, and he should know better that on a TV you can't shoot for 40 FPS with a 60 hertz or 120 hertz cycle refresh. That's the problem, the frame pacing and the refresh rate. But on a gaming monitor, if you have VRR on your TV, you can. That's the problem with him saying 40 FPS should be the standard on console. It's not going to work on a console. But on a PC or Steam Deck, it's great. And I think he got caught up in the excitement that he was playing games at a decent quality or a high quality on a handheld. But
just to say the truth, Alex is a Steam fanboy. Like, let's just be real. No,
he does love that.
It's just one of those things where it's like, because it came from him, and he's well known,
and he writes
for
people,
those, 60 frames or nothing. I'm not even going to touch it. And I gave him a hard time because he used to give me a hard time consistently when we were on a podcast together. I would be talking about some PS4 game I'm playing or something like that. But Eric, are you playing at 60? Is it 60? If it's not 60, then it's trash. It's kind of like that kind of thing. So I was like, well, what happened? Where was this before? So I gave him a hard time. It wasn't serious or anything like that.
I know how he feels, though.
People came at him.
It was trending. It was trending.
Yeah, it was the thing. I saw it. I was like 60 frames.
I know how he feels, though. I've never been wrong. And if people try to call me out that I'm wrong, I will fight, very vehemently.
So you slither out like Alex. I call him the Master Slither, and that's my nickname for him.
Master
Slither. Snake. He slithers out of anything. So everyone be warned, you're not going to win against Alex.
Yeah. She's going to end up pregnant.
Next topic.
I hope you guys are enjoying the XC podcast. I'm here with Gaz, the craziest best friend that I have. And we're here with Eric Hutz for the win from the Backlog Podcast. If you're having a good time, hit that like button. We should be up to 500. We have over 1,100 people who are watching the show. If you're enjoying the conversation that's going on, or it went sideways when we talked about 40 FPS and pregnant 40 FPS, appreciate the support. Hit the like, show your support. We're going to read the next one. Mike with a Canadian $10 says, Sony to regulators. Microsoft owning Call of Duty will drive players toward Xbox and hurt us. It's anti-competitive. Also, Sony, let's make Final Fantasy exclusive and keep the RPG community off of Xbox. Well said. Well said. But the regulatory committee doesn't care about exclusivity, but PlayStation sure does. That's what we learned. C Trigger 3 with the $2 super says, this is embarrassing. PlayStation should be ashamed for this. And Hoag's Law illustrates that a lot of this was to try and paint a very dire and very desperate or very evil or monopolistic situation to get the regulatory people to crack down on this, because this is going to take a massive hit into PlayStation's profit margin and their market position. Frank Morissette with the Canadian $10 says Sony purchase of Bungie is the same excuse as Call of Duty. Their majority of players were originally on the PlayStation. Yeah, and they're going to make multi-plats. Raiden Blade with the £5 says, PlayStation made Call of Duty look like it was exclusive. 360 got DLC 3 months early, not 2 years, when the game mode is dead. Look, leave Call of Duty on all plats, but Game Pass day and date. I think that's what will happen. But I also kind of think maybe feels like, look, we're going to get through these 3 Call of Duties that have marketing rights with PlayStation because we said we would leave Call of Duty on PlayStation, so that'll cover it. And then we're just going to Warzone and Warzone 2 will always be multi-plat. But the rest, Call of Duty, Nut Cruncher is going to be on only Xbox. And Call of Duty, I think they have a great name for the next Call of Duty.
Yeah, that's true. Naming conventions will get destroyed. Yeah.
That could be possible that in 2025 possibly, or whenever everything is settled out, that the next announced Call of Duty that's not in marketing with PlayStation will only be on. Ready? Are you ready for this? Call of Duty will be exclusive to Xbox, PC, Edge browser, mobile devices, iPads, iPhones, smart TVs, and whatever, right? It's so funny when you think about it. If PlayStation made this buy,
I didn't hear the Switch.
Wow.
Why not? Raid Blade, thank you so much for so many super chats. He's got another one. He says, Call of Duty should never be on PS Plus or PS Now, or maybe at, I don't know what he's saying there. He's had some hieroglyphics. Dark CMF with the 20 says, thank you, Dark CMF. He says, whether it stays multiplayer or goes exclusive, Sony loses the ability to present it as a PS exclusive through their BS advertising exclusivity that they love so much. And Daniel Grand says, with the $10, thank you, Daniel. He says, I love that Sony is basically going on record complaining that Microsoft is being pro-consumers, hurting competition because it'll make it harder to bleed their customers dry with inflated prices. Well, I mean, Activision bleeds people dry with inflated prices, and I don't think that's going to change when they go to Xbox. Do you think that they'll still be $70, right, guys?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Well, under Microsoft's banner, that shouldn't be $70. They may be, but they shouldn't be. And Xbox deserves the smoke if it is 70, in my opinion.
Yeah, I also think that Xbox will move to $70 games in the next year or so. What do you think, Erica? Do you think they have it in them?
$70?
Mm-hmm.
For games just straight up like that, without Game Pass? I mean,
do you think that Xbox can go, you know what? When these Bethesda and Activision games roll out, they're $70, but hey, you have Game Pass, so it's okay.
It's not okay.
I think they'll do that.
I wouldn't like that. I mean, I don't know. The 70
only PlayStation guys like the $70, the $10
they
price
want to
hike.
spend more money for some reason. I never understand the whole argument of like, well, you spend more money on you could go buy a house, but you can't buy a game. It's like, dude, that's such a bad argument.
That did happen.
Yeah, remember that was going on, or you buy a nice car, but that doesn't mean you want to spend a bunch of money on gas. That's not life. I would have a problem. Yeah, I would have a problem if Xbox did that, of course. Like if Gears came out and I wanted to own it and it was 70, Gears 6, I would be like, really? That's too high.
Mr. Orange says, Mr. Orange says, yes, they'll do it to encourage you to subscribe to Game Pass, to push people there.
There's that part of it. But when it's a game like Gears, or if you like are really into Forza or whatever game and you want to own it, yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow. I hope it doesn't come to that, but who knows? They might just give in, and yeah, it might be a way to push people to Game Pass to consistently give $15 a month or whatever it is.
But that's not cool. That's not cool.
No,
I'll put this out there. I think Xbox will eventually do it, and if they do it, they deserve the smoke. That's all I'm saying.
I'll bring it.
Yeah, and I also, because I don't know what to say, because I feel like it's inevitable. You've got Ubisoft, so 2K, Rockstar, Take-Two, PlayStation, EA. Like, you got the biggest publishers who said it's $70. That's the price. And I think they've basically broke the levee, and everyone's just going to have to fall in line and say, look, why are we not taking that extra $10? With games getting more expensive, it really sucks. But it is cool. It is cool. The majority of game publishers are not pushing that hard because they're the ones that are getting paid after the fact. The devs are already paid ahead of time for their work. But we got Last to Dying Breed with a $5 super with an Xbox One logo for a profile picture. Holding on to that generation, baby. Just holding on.
Wow.
Still holding on to that Connect cable. Connect 2.0.
Xbox on.
I see you love that. That's the only I love that. That was actually really good. Xbox
kind of cool. I used it. Yeah.
I used it a lot as well. It felt like magic. It was cool.
Oh my gosh. Xbox volume up.
But the NSA are watching that.
It was funny.
Record that.
When I was playing, when you play Sunset Overdrive, your character will go, Xbox, record that. He'll yell that out. That's pretty funny.
Do you remember Call of Duty people would record, would change their names to Xbox turn off or something? Xbox. Like, no. All these kids, little squeakers, going, no. And
they would crouch in front of them so they couldn't move.
They would say
move, Xbox up.
Yeah, Xbox off, move out.
They would say in the game chat, they would yell it, and then it would really turn people's consoles off. I remember that.
That's so brilliant. The difficulties we've lived through in this terrible generation. But anyway, Last to Dying Breed, thank you so much for the super. He says, keep Call of Duty off PlayStation, make spin-off exclusives, game over. Or keep Call of Duty on PlayStation, he says. Make the spin-off exclusives. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of I'm in line with that the future Call of Duties that will just be on. I don't know.
I think forget Call of Duty for a second. What about the other games? I think actually the pressure is on. So everyone's talking about Call of Duty. I say Call of Duty is multi-platform. Just accept that
and just walk away.
Just walk away. That's big. And just getting on Game Pass is big. Stop being so spoiled. What about everything else? What about Diablo? What about all these other games that are under the ABK banner? That's really big. You're gonna get the next Warcraft. I don't know. I'm getting statements that are quite strongly said that, what was that statement? Was it Matt Booty who said, where their communities already exist, we don't want to deprive them of those experiences. And I'm like, shut the up, Matt Booty. Oh, it's just give them COD. Don't have to kumbaya and be Mr. Nice. Hey, look, Microsoft, Phil, I know you're watching this. Phil, do you see how PlayStation behaves? Did you see that? Did you see what they did? The slightest chance you see them in Brazil, they're like, these could destroy our business, fully going R. Kelly screaming.
Microsoft hates to look like the bad guy, and that's what PlayStation was trying to do.
No. Well, look, exactly. And you give them an inch, they will take a mile. It's business, right? Okay, fine. Sony, I respect your hustle because you're in business. But Microsoft, stop being so Mr. Nice Guy. Stop being like, oh, we're inclusive bring back Jay Allard so he can come back and see. You remember Jay Allard, the father of Xbox? You know what he said? He said he wanted Ken Kusuragi's resignation letter on his desk. Jeez. Every day he would think about that. He was a nice guy. He was a lovely guy. He wanted to do crossplay and all of that. Nice guy, but he had a business mindset. And Sony are like that. Sony don't give a damn. They've come out, they gave him a speech. They said, look, this anti-competitive was charging $70 price for it. And they're going to be like, oh, this is going to kill our business. So, you know what? Don't stop pandering. It's time to, roll your sleeves and say, all right, we'll give you COD. Everything else, it's ours. We paid $70 billion. You want Crash on PlayStation? Suck my. That's what you say. Suck my.
Damn.
I miss JLR too as well. Oh, and
all right.
This is not a family show
there
anymore.
You go.
My only issue with that, Gaz, is we talked about half an hour ago that a lot of those studios that you and I want to see make amazing things are all in helping make Call of Duty. So that's got to change. Spider with the Norwegian 50 says Call of Duty will be multi-plat for at least 3 years, but day and date on Game Pass, perhaps early access for Xbox content and possibly PC. Yes. Raiden Blade with another one says PS fans are mouth service between Gran Turismo 7 and Horizon Forbidden West. 6.4 million sold. I think that was about each of them for those, which is still great, and probably more than Xbox first-party games, but a lot more expensive. Red Wolf with the $2 says, so what does this mean for Final Fantasy VII coming to Xbox? I will answer quickly, and then I'll give this question to Erica. I think Final Fantasy VII, never. Erica, what is your take on Final Fantasy VII on Xbox?
I don't know, man. Honestly, I'd probably be with you on that. Like, never.
Do you think they just kind of said, you know what? We paid you don't worry about it. No Xbox version. We got it covered. You're sold enough with us.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I would say so. I
mean, it's been almost 2 years.
I dropped the game, so I'm just like, oh, whatever, wherever it goes. But yeah, I would agree with you on that. Yeah.
Super Botto with the $5. Thank you. He says, great show and guest. Tell Erica, and she's listening. Yes, I am Filipino with a winky face. And I gotta say, after reading that, thanks to everybody who's here watching XCC podcast. We have people who are from different parts of the world. We've heard from people from London. We had somebody from Scotland earlier, and Brazil, Australia. It's really amazing. We're so glad that you guys get to hang out with us. JCT Bean with a $70.
Wait, Colt, real quick. How'd you pronounce his name again?
Super Botto?
Boto?
It's Super Boto?
Boto.
I know what that means.
And, what does Boto mean?
It means I can't.
That's why I called it Super Botto, so it could be appropriate.
It's not a family show anymore.
They must know I'm familiar with Filipinos. My husband's Filipino, so that's a very funny name.
Oh, wicked.
Kudos for that name. Anyways, good to you.
Super Rod.
Spicy name.
Rod.
JCT Bean with a $70 super chat. Thank you so much, JCT Bean. He says, here's the 70 that I would not spend on a remaster or remake. Hit that like button, people.
Gave $70 super chat just to make that statement. Say, here's a 70 I will not spend on the remaster or remake. Jay, that's crazy. That is the price of the game. That's kind of crazy, JCT.
I would gladly pay
$70 on a super chat just to make that.
That's amazing.
You got to respect him. You got to respect him.
I totally respect that, and I'm not buying it either. So I think we took care of that pretty well. Splendiferous with the $2 says, thank you, Splendiferous. Says, why did they hire Slim, Crying Ryan? Go make some games. They are making lots of games. Don't worry, PlayStation has God of War, Ragnarok, Spider-Man 2 again and again, and Wolverine. And they should be good for the whole generation. You'd be fine. Pixelbit G with the $2 thing. He says, missed Chrome browser. xCloud is nice on a Steam Deck. A number came out today, Erica, that xCloud saw an 1,800% surge in activity on xCloud of all places.
Wow. That
crazy. Means, I can't do the math, but the 5 people that were playing it before.
Maybe it's like 15 now. Right. I've never actually tried xCloud. I hear different things. Some people say it works amazing. Some say, You
have to have the right, you have to be in the right place for it,
Yeah.
Like I tried it at work on my break, and we have the lower Wi-Fi, and the signal's weak in that spot where I work when I'm at the office. No go. I come home, we don't have 5G in our city yet. It's just like, so I'm not going to get the right experience, but the people who do live in those areas, I mean, it's all coming. It's all going to work its way around if you want to play
better.
That way.
Our internet needs to get better. We have like one, at least here. I don't know about Gaz, but in America, it's kind of trash here.
Actually, I've heard internationally, a lot of countries have faster internet than we do here in the States, which is kind of a counter to what we usually think. Hargy Johnny with the $5 says, I hope Xbox continues to keep the value narrative and keep their games at 60. It is very hard for Microsoft to say they need more money.
Yeah, well, I mean, well said, Huggy. That's a great point. That's where I come from. I love Huggy.
I love Hargy. He's great. And I got to figure out how I can get Hargy into one of my videos where I'm going to talk about why games are taking so long.
I did it, Huggy. You were in the video today.
What's that?
He was in our video. He's in my video today, Huggy. You can, because he makes a great point about this whole thing.
Yeah, you used his bit from the podcast. I want to get him on camera with all the productions. I'll have sent somebody over to do makeup and hair. And I love Hargy. He's such a great guy. Pushing Polygons with the $10 super says, I don't care where the games are as long as they're good. I think acquisitions are only beneficial when a company is on its last leg. Companies have limited dollars, either meaning less games or lower quality. Let's talk about that lower quality thing. I know Gaz is like at the edge of his seat to talk about this. Let me start with Erica. Jim Ryan and this Sony regulatory discussion said that if you put your games on a lower entry fee in Game Pass, it lowers the quality. Reason that for me, would you?
That's been an argument. Yeah, they say that about Game Pass all the time. games go there and their quality goes down. I guess you could throw Halo in there as far as like the multiplayer was free. That wasn't. I mean, the campaign was on Game Pass, true. And then like Gears, you can kind of throw in there.
Yeah,
that has been the argument. I've always been on the side that no, if there's talent on the other side, those devs know how to make games. I feel like they could still have talented, good games. We've had great indies come to Game Pass and great games like that I've played on there. I thought were full of quality. Mm-hmm. I could see where they're coming from. I could see, but I don't know. I don't fall into that belief, especially for Sony games. That they're so afraid. They're so afraid that their quality games are just going to go down in quality, and I just don't.
So really see that. We know PlayStation. You and I know PlayStation really well. I buy all their really big exclusives that are like kind of my style, right? So I buy most all of them. I just don't see PlayStation saying, "Well, we're putting ourselves on a service. We need to pare back the time and effort and money and quality level control because we're now on PlayStation Premium," right? I just don't see that. So, Gaz, you really wanted to bring this up because this is not only have the fanboys said this over and over that Game Pass lowers quality, but now Sony executive and leadership are trying to push that narrative from the top down.
Yeah.
So you covered this a little bit in your video, and I think you watched mine. But what do you have to say about the quality narrative?
It's a complete utter nonsense fallacy. If they're equating whatever manage the way they assign their budgets to quality, then the same way Microsoft's dealing with it. Are you talking about reducing the quality of which games? They say they also
future
think this
games,
could harm consumers. Future games of what? Activision games? They're worried about Call of Duty's quality? Are they really caring that much about Call of Duty's quality?
They may be saying it as a whole, but any game that is developed knowing it's going to Game Pass would have to be lowered in quality because I think PlayStation...
Why do they care? Why do they bring that up here to the FTC?
I think that PlayStation looks at it and says, look, if we put our games in a service, we're only going to get this many... We've projected out, we'll only bring in this many people to our subscription service, and so we'll only make this amount of money when we need to make this. I think that's what they're projecting. PlayStation doesn't realize that all they'd have to do right now, Gaz, is say, sign up for PlayStation. What's the highest tier called? Premium or Essential? I think it's called.
I don't even know how that bloody.
Let's say Premium. I'm sorry, I'm not going to pay for that one yet. If PlayStation just has this marketing, if you pay for the PlayStation Platinum tier, you will get all of our first-party exclusives, including God of War Ragnarok this November, Spider-Man 2, Wolverine, the next Naughty Dog game. I think they would pull in 40 million to 50 million subscribers in the first year. Like people would upgrade up from PlayStation Plus.
Absolutely. I mean, no, why not? I mean, do the numbers make sense to them? Do the 10 million The Last of Us sales make sense for them? If they did lower the price or have more live service games, they will have the money to devote to make these games day and date. Just because their business model is so not ancient, but they're holding on to the old business model and saying, hey, we can't do this. It's not sustainable. I'm like, why are you ignoring everything else? Why do you get the benefit of being this old school closed up thing, not allowed to adapt when you're making this argument? Whereas Xbox can go ahead and be maneuverable and say, hey, and the thing is, it's contradictory because Jim Ryan has said, like, you know what? He said the same thing. Out of 10 live service games, some will hit. That will be massive money spinners. So that money then goes into developing or focusing on your typical single player games. You have to think more dynamically here. So their argument doesn't hold weight. It's complete nonsense. Also, their work is quite derivative of their past works. And I'm not trying to use that to downplay that, but they've got the engines for Horizon. They've got it for Spider-Man Miles Morales. They've got it for God of War. There's ways to streamline that as well, which they have done. So you're absolutely right. They don't get to say, the quality will dwindle. That's complete utter nonsense. It dwindles if you stick rigidly to what you're doing right now, which makes no sense because you're future-proofing your business. So you should be using that money from your because you are changing your business model. You are getting more live service games. You're saying you can't use that fundage to push through your big bangers. It doesn't make sense. How often do you come out with your big bangers? Complete nonsense, in my opinion.
Once to twice a year, usually for PlayStation. Yeah. I mean, they've been pretty consistent to have 2 big bangers every year. I'm going to ask you, Erica. Pretend you're going to call the shots at PlayStation. Would you be holding on to, let's make sure we get as many people on console first, and then we'll start talking about PC later? Or would you be looking at, when God of War Ragnarok comes out, let's get the PC version ready at launch. Let's sell it on Steam. Let's sell it on PlayStation 4 and 5. And let's get it in our subscription service. Like, what would you do if they gave you the go-to?
Shoot.
What do you think would make you more money?
PC master race. I'd be I'd be looking at the climate, what's going on and what's doing well. And if I see Game Pass and things like that are doing well, I'd be like, okay, we should probably look into that. And then PC, I mean, I think when fans look at that situation, they just think, well, if it's on PC, it's going to not sell consoles and it's not going to sell that well on console.
That's right.
They get scared that it's going to dominate on PC. But as a businesswoman for Sony, I would not care about that because I'm making money. The more places and platforms it's on, you're going to make money. So it just makes sense to me, like to put it on PC. I know they're not day and date yet as far as like these big exclusives, but it's coming. It's going to change. We said it before so many times. Xbox, for better for worse, I mean, they do change things. They do. They change the climate. And I think now it's like we can't really deny it. We see Sony already kind of, I wouldn't say copying them, but they are incorporating, PSNow. They're incorporating streaming. They're incorporating the different tiers and getting free games and all of that through the tiers.
The backbone controller.
Day and date. Look at Stray. I mean, I know it's not a big game. I know Stray is not a big game, but it was day and date on that service. And they've done it before with like other games being free, like Rocket League, remember? Games like that took off. So they've felt the success of doing things like that. And they felt the success of selling on PC as well. 2 years down the line, 4 years down the line, God of War, came on PC. Horizon, the first one, came on PC. And little by little, the time periods are shortening. It goes from 4 years to 2 years to 1 year. Now maybe 6 months.
What are they waiting for? Like,
it's just they're gradually bringing it in. Maybe I don't know. I mean, we could make theories and say, well, maybe they're scared of their fans. They got to ease them in. You got to ease it in and kind of test the waters. And now they brought in what is it, Nexus? The ones that are actually, is that what they're called? The ones that work on porting?
Nexus,
Yeah. And they're very good at, as far as I know, good at porting. And before that, there's been hiccups. Horizon, I know, had a couple hiccups when it launched on PC.
Still sold like crazy because it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. I know people bring up the Steam numbers. Oh, there's like so many millions of people on Steam and only a couple million bought the game. So what's up? Listen, Steam is a different beast. They play everything from RTS to freaking,
Power Wash Simulator.
Power Wash Simulator, whatever. They're playing the most indie of indies that you've never even heard of. So it's a different climate there. It's different. But I'm in the camp of, if they do sell a couple million, that's a good thing for a 4-year-old game. That's to me that speaks volumes that they want these games on PC. They do.
Yeah, and the chat's really, really smart. I keep watching what they're saying. They're like, there's a PlayStation launcher on PC. They're like really keyed in to where PlayStation should be. Gas is moving his curtain around. I saw somebody like, what's moving in the background?
Are either trolling or scaring the crap out of me. Someone said someone's
there's
standing
a guy
behind me.
With a steak
or
knife.
Someone's keeping. It's pretty creepy in the studio. You have no idea.
Is it Asa? Who is it?
Asa's going to choke you out. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I know I asked Erica, but I would just why wait for PC? You're just going to get the people who are like, oh, that game's a year old. I'll just, they are making money on the PlayStation. They just can't sell them because of the shortage. So I don't know. Let me grab Prometheus. What a great name. I messaged Gaz the other day when he was unavailable. I said, Brohemus, Brofus, Bromemius Maximus.
That's exactly how it happened in WhatsApp.
Bromo macaroni and cheese. Just like over and over. And he goes, what? And I go, hi. Prometheus with the $5 super says, with the Activision Blizzard deal, not enough people are talking about Xbox potentially having their foot in China with Activision's Shanghai studio. I forgot all about that.
What?
There's Activision Shanghai studio that Xbox would be involved with if the deal goes through. They'll have a place in China where they can work with developers. And
what does that mean? So, what's the relevance of that?
Xbox doesn't have any studios in China. They don't have any.
Oh, China's a different beast. It's not like Japan. It's China's very controlled there, so I think they'll be stifled in any kind of freedom to develop things. There's my understanding of it there. So I don't know about China.
Yeah, I don't know, and I've never been there. Hargeet Chani says, thank you, Hargeet Chani, with the 10. He says, that quality thing is so bogus. I wish you guys could hear Hargeet's voice because he's so snarky and he wants to voice heard. I love that he's a part of Go Live and Game On Daily. He says, the quality thing is so bogus. PS Strategy is selling $70 single-player games that are expensive to make. If the market says they don't want that, too bad. Do something else. PlayStation, oh, woe is me. And you're right. Like Gaz said, they're making 10 games as service games. They're following the whole narrative that gaming is all about the AAA blockbuster cinematic game. But I love those games so much. And I want Xbox to make more of those games. But the reality is, the executives know those aren't the games that sell. It's Fortnite, Among Us, Fall Guys,
free to plays.
All free to plays. Yes.
They buy the microtransactions. That's what they do. Like I said, I've been playing Fortnite recently. I was going through their store and just kind of checking it out. And I said to myself, like, they know what they're doing. The way exactly how they sell those V-Bucks and what it could buy. And like, I just see how smart Epic is, and they sell a lot of that stuff and they make money. And then they bring in more things because they have the money to do it. It's Fortnite did a number on the industry, changed a lot of things.
And Epic, yeah. And that's an example there. They used that money, utilized it to do whatever. Games as a service model will allow, if Sony does execute the quality in those games as a service, one or two of them making big money, or PC games supplementing the income that way, they can absolutely maintain the quality bar with their single player sad dad games that people are going to start to get bored of. I'm sorry.
Like how you call them sad dad games. Did you come up with that? I haven't.
No, it's something other people always said, so we just regurgitate
it. Even though I love those games, but yeah,
I do too. But it's
it's just true. I really do enjoy like the cinematic and the immersive world building games and character driven stuff. And like I said, Xbox doesn't have that until next year. So I've been asking for those things, but we're watching PlayStation literally try and figure out a way to move beyond just that formula that is so
the
good.
Template. Yeah. Third person over the shoulder.
It's good. And Xbox even copied it with Gears 5 in the slightest way. I think they did. They're like, this is what people enjoy, but you got to kind of chase where your return on investment. I think that's the big problem is PlayStation doesn't see enough of a return on investment when they're building these big games. It takes so long and costs so much money. Let's see here. The other thing they said, Gaz, is that it would take you mentioned this earlier, but it would take several years. I kind of stopped you before we got into it, but they said it would take several years to build up something that was competitive or rivaled Xbox Game Pass. Do you agree with that?
They can't. This is where they're correct. How can they? They don't have bankroll like Microsoft does to have. Well, what is Game Pass? Why is Game Pass so big?
They don't have they don't have bankroll to just say, look.
No.
We're going to start putting our games in we're going to put our games.
for the number of studios.
For the developers.
Not enough content, huh?
Yeah, they just can't. Xbox has so much content. I know. Well, it's so funny to say that, but it has no content.
Right now,
they don't have no
Pass
games.
is not,
yeah, the
Game
Xbox
Pass
has
is
no
not
games.
good.
Xbox has no games because it's so embarrassing considering the number of studios they have. But all of that will change because they have to churn that out. In that sense, it will take several years for a competitor, Amazon. I'm not even looking at Sony here. I'm looking at the ones that can actually be a competitor, and that's Amazon. That's your Googles out there. And even they, if they have the bankroll, and when they talk about this, they're not talking about themselves, by the way. Sony's talking about Amazon. It's talking about Google. When it says they believe it will take years for a competitor, even with substantial investments, means substantial bankroll to do what Microsoft is doing. Because ultimately, Microsoft's taking a hit, capital investment, and doing all this aggressive expansion. Amazon has no legs in this space, barely anything. Google gave up with Stadia, or hopefully it's kind of still lingering on. But anyone who comes into the space, Microsoft secured their future in the meta space. That's what they're doing with the metaverse. They really did. So Sony's absolutely right there. It will take years. Sony can't compete on this level unless it can, even if it does day and date, it just doesn't have enough studios.
Wouldn't you guys agree that their PlayStation Premium and Essentials tiers have really good games? They've got really big, like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. They put a bunch of Assassin's Creed games, and there's some big AAA third-party games in the service. So
their output would be
really close, or
they would have to be aggressively
what Game Pass has
output
right now.
I think they would have to potentially, if all these studios are in a cadence and releasing PlayStation games like that, then PlayStation would destroy Game Pass. I would buy this PlayStation because they can do Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us and God of Wars, but these come every 5 years. So, how are they going to keep churning out that kind? It's going to be hard, man, because Xbox has a lot more studios, and Xbox is not done. Even today, they confirmed they're going to be looking at more acquisitions. So,
you mean PlayStation could bolster up their subscription service with their 15 studios creating games as much as they could, but Xbox essentially has double that. They have 30 once they get the Activision deal gone through, right?
Money.
And Sony's focusing on live service games as well, so a lot of them are invariably going to be free to play anyway, so they don't really fall into the banner of I just can't see. Maybe I'd love for PlayStation to compete against Game Pass, by the way, because I think that competition is actually needed to put pressure on. I think Xbox does need even more pressure. But it's just, I just can't see PlayStation competing in that space. If they do day and date, that'd be a good step forward, but they would need the content there. And I don't know. So Microsoft is poised to deliver masses of content. You're going to have content every quarter and pretty decent budgets as well. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I just can't see anyone. Microsoft future. There needs to be. We talked about. Look. Let's be real. We talked about competition in this space. We said, why would you not have Microsoft in this space? In the same realm, I want PlayStation to compete with a Game Pass like service, not PlayStation Plus that it is now, but something to really light a fire there. And I really want PlayStation to try its best, not make excuses like this, but really adapt, because ultimately they will. Watch this space. Either Game Pass fundamentally falls, Microsoft's big bet falters massively, and all its capital investment goes down the toilet, or Sony has to cave in and start. That's what they're doing, because read the wording that says it will take years. Basically, they're kind of giving an indication it will take them. They're working their way to get to where Game Pass is now, or where Microsoft is now. They're trying to.
They're buying a lot of studios.
Yeah,
they're buying as often as Xbox is. Xbox has made bigger purchases, so I guess maybe it would.
The business is in transition phase. It's 100%. This is what's happening. But... It's getting there, but Sony's traditional business model, they know it. The time is up. It's up. This is why Sony's panicking. That's why they spent $3 billion on Bungie. They are trying to mimic. Your GIF is more on point than you know, man. They're trying to copy Xbox so bad. It's a massive race there. For the future of Sony, PlayStation needs to adapt and fast, and they know it. and they're making the moves there, and they're doing whatever they can.
I got laughed at so much a year and a half ago. Right before this generation started, I did a video when we didn't know what the PS5 looked like. We knew that the Series X, what it looked like. We didn't know there was a Series S. I did this video about how Xbox will become the market leader and how they will lead with things like cloud and Game Pass and more power and all this stuff. And people laughed at me for a long time. And some of the like really little turd nugget trolls, have made fun of me about the market leader. But
what a fanboy, huh?
Yeah.
My problem is the definition of market leader. I didn't know that I wasn't using the correct definition. The market leader is the one that makes the most money and is at the top of the market for selling the most of whatever is in that market. But my video is all about how Xbox is going to lead PlayStation where they should go and where the gaming industry should go. The Xbox has been very transformative about you should be able to buy your game and play it on this, that, or that if you like. Like Phil said a long time ago, I feel like if you buy a game, you should be able to play it where you want, as long as you're logging into Xbox Live, right? And now we're seeing PlayStation follow this. Now we got a super chat I'm going to take to Erica because I don't know exactly what this means. Maybe you guys can help out. But Tech Money, thank you for the $2 super. Says Sony will have Ubisoft success with live service. And I know the PlayStation has talked about working with Ubisoft and Ubisoft Plus. And I don't remember all the details. Erica, do you know what's going on with Ubisoft and PlayStation?
No, I'm trying to think what this comment means. Ubisoft success.
I thought they were doing something, and I feel bad that I don't know, chat and audience, but I know they did something, or they were going to be working with PlayStation Plus when Xbox was supposed to be. There was rumored they were, and maybe the chat and Gaz can help me out. Do you remember this, Gaz?
I think I remember that Ubisoft Plus is coming to whatever PlayStation. The same thing as Xbox. There wasn't anything to it. But forgive me if I'm wrong.
Kind of like EA.
Like EA.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's another thing we forget about. EA has some good stuff in there, but it's just this thing that's just like, oh, and you get this. I don't know. Ubisoft's got a lot of things they have to correct, and they make excellent games, but I don't know. Some stuff is just a little,
couple spooky things. Yeah,
like you like some of their stuff, Erica, and so,
I do. Well, I really liked like the Assassin's Creed, the later ones with Origins and Odyssey, but the debate then was the pay to, what was it, to grind? Like the grind was real in those games, and I remember making Valhalla I didn't finish, but I heard it was really bad.
Yeah.
I made videos on it, just confirming that there's definitely grinding you have to do. I remember being cut off from visiting certain areas in the game because I wasn't strong enough, even though I felt naturally I was progressing well, and I was getting, they do bounties and they chase you, and they hunt you down. These guys were like level 50 something. I'm like level 20. I'm like, what is going on in this game? So it would pressure you into like having to grind and get your levels up, and that was like a big deal. So I feel like since then it's just been a lot of negative opinions about Ubisoft. So that's why I'm like, I hear this comment about Ubisoft's success, and I'm just like, I don't really know what they mean by that.
Okay. Gaming Forte in the chat says he means they won't have success, just like Ubisoft. I was trying to read his comment again, but I think Forte means that Tech Money said Sony will have Ubisoft success. Oh, now I get it. English is a fun language.
It is.
Yeah, he's saying they'll have the same amount of success that Ubisoft has with their live service.
No,
on PC, their Ubisoft Plus is really cool.
But, Sony know that. Sony don't know their multiplayer. Actually, you know what? I don't know. I mean, I'm on the fence there. Sony have struggled with the multiplayer. They know it. They've got Bungie now. That's why they overpaid. Time will tell if they overpaid. But they desperately paid for Bungie because they haven't got the expertise there. And they were clinging onto their business market because PlayStation 4, that gen, spoiled them. They were like, our single-player dad formula works. So we are cool. Boom. No, actually, the numbers in the middle of last gen, they started to see the numbers and returns. They were like, what the hell? The Last of Us 2, what's going on? Why is Microsoft's revenue going up? Player engagement is insane. What's going on? We need to, So they're gonna have a struggle.
What would you do if PlayStation worked with Bungie to make the next Halo game?
The next Halo killer, you mean?
The Halo killer?
No, they just straight up make Halo. They just make Halo.
Good. 343 can't do it.
Someone gotta do it. Someone gotta make it better.
All right.
There's a Halo killer coming. From who? I don't know, but it's coming. Because Halo killed itself, in my opinion. I know that's going to piss people off, but good.
I would like something new that feels like the way we did when we experienced a lot of those, well, almost all the Halo games. But anyway. Assassin with the $10. Thank you so much, Assassin. Says, quote, "It will take years for Game Pass to have a rival competitor." He says, "Well, you better get started, Sony. My brother in Christ, you just acquired Bungie. Why does it seem Sony has no faith in their studios?" It's like perfectly in line with what Gaz just said. And we got a chat from Super Boto, who says, did I say that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. If Sony puts first party studio games on PlayStation day one on PlayStation Plus, they would get 50 million subs and there would be revenue. They're close to 10 billion a year. Oh my gosh. Remember, Gaz, you remember the heat I took when I said, PlayStation, what are you doing? Just put your games on PlayStation Plus and you'll make this much money a year. And everyone got so mad, said, Colt uses phone calculator because he's smarter than the execs at PlayStation. They were so mad, but I kind of think, because I've never been wrong, I kind of think I was spot on. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like PlayStation doesn't have, I think they have such faith and confidence and conviction in their first party games, right, Erica? But maybe they don't have that same conviction with their fans that will stand up and support them and go sub to an amazing service like that.
They don't have faith in the fans. They have faith in the games, but not the
Where's
fans.
the disconnect? Speak on
it. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to speak on it because what I see is like, what I see on Twitter or what I see in my circles. And there is a lot of people who don't have faith in these services. Like they're so afraid of, like we talked about, the quality dropping and them losing money. It's like they're investors, but they're not. And they're scared of Sony losing even more money and stuff like that. So I don't know. I honestly don't even know what to say about it.
I think it's a lot of it has to do with, some of it may be like, oh, I don't own the games, but I think that's such a small portion of people, because I think most people realize that they play a game once or twice and they don't need to go back to it, or they just don't end up going back. It's not about the one and done thing, but
Sony
I also believe that Bethesda wants Starfield to be as good as it can possibly be so that they get celebrated and they get popular and they get all this accolades, right? The developers don't want to put out a crappy product. They're getting paid up front to do the work. So I think the games are going to be as good as they possibly want to make them, whether they're in a service or not. They're still selling them at full price on PC. You can still buy them on console at full price. But I think there's good things in the works. And if it pushes PlayStation, I know we talked about PlayStation a ton tonight, but if it pushes PlayStation to offer a better value, and in turn they find out they're making a little bit more money by going into subscription service, everybody will be the better for it. That means PlayStation will buy another studio because now they can afford to buy a little more or make a few more extra games. I think it's a really good thing. This has been a crazy show. I don't want to keep everybody here too late. This is the XC Podcast. If you had a good time, show your support by hitting the like button. We'll also be on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Gaz, thank you so much for putting up with me so late every single day.
It's all good.
I love hanging out with you, and you've never been wrong either.
I'm over.
Tell everybody what you have in the works. Push your video. Tell them about your video you put out today. And, say your outros and whatnot and so forth and what have you.
Yeah, so check out GameOnDaily.com. Check out Game On Daily, one word, on YouTube if you like the source unfiltered. So please check that out. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the chat. It was an absolute pleasure, as always, with Eric Cuts for the win. This might be the time I see you before You just
I know.
and then everything changes.
I won't disappear. I'll be around.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't. Yeah. We need you.
Hargit Johnny says it'll be interesting to get the next quarterly report from Sony detailing the PS Plus versus premium and extra sub counts. I think they'll see some nice growth because a lot of people are pretty impressed with that service. But yeah, thank you, Hargit. What's next before I go to Erica? What's your next video? You've got something in the pipeline?
No, she's creating literal content.
Or I mean, you want to do a sauce video where you kind of call out the reaction to what's going on maybe today.
Me or Gaz?
Erica?
I think he's talking
No, you, Gaz.
What do you do?
Before I go to Erica,
sauce videos.
Let's do it. Let's collab. Yeah, no, definitely working on a source video on the reactions today, and also with receipts, because just a few days before this, some people put their foot in their mouth, not knowing this was going to happen. So brace yourself.
Oh, you got one of those. Some tweets that didn't age, huh?
Man, ponies always like to put their foot in their mouths. I've got receipts for days. Oh, and shout out to Nicola. He's gonna get murked.
He's gonna crawl into his little baby pouch.
Yeah, he is.
Erica, thank you so much for being here on the last of your quiet time in your life. As baby screams will haunt you, even when they're not, even when your baby is not crying, you will hear it echo in your brain. The sweet goodness of newborns is amazing. But
can I tell them how you enticed me to come on tonight? What you said to get me on? Well, you just basically said this is what Colt said to me to DM. He's like, "You want to come hang out with us one last time before there's a screaming newborn in your life?" And I was just like, yeah, why not?
It's true. Remember this moment. This is it. This is the last time we get to chill out with you before everything changes in your life. That's crazy. That's the moment. For me,
I'll never forget it.
I feel it.
I spent 3 days at the hospital. My wife and I spent 3 days when our first kid was born, and it's a life. Of course, it's a life-changing experience, right? I mean, but
of course.
I went with my mother-in-law to the store to buy some items we didn't realize we need, like a baby monitor and a couple things we didn't get at a baby shower. And I remember my wife was at home with the baby, and it had been 3 days at the hospital, so I was kind of out of it. And we were walking around the store getting things, and I was kind of like this. And she was trying to talk to me, and I was just kind of like, I can't believe I've got a human at home. I can't believe, the 12 some hours that we waited for the baby to be born, and all the stuff that we went through, and all the amazing craziness, and it just changes you. But I'll tell you what won't change, Erica, when that baby is born, is Xbox still won't have games. And with that, thank you to all over 1,100 people who were checking out the show. We really appreciate it. We had a really good time. I was watching the chat a ton. You guys are so awesome. You said so many things that are like burned in my retinas. I really appreciate all of you. Gaz, Erica, let's do this again.
We will. We'll get Alex I'll be
on,
around.
And we'll get the four of us together. It'll be so fun.
Oh, yeah. I know Gaz has told me that too. Like, we got to get both of you on. I'm like, are you sure you want to do that?
Yes, I do.
It's going to be a literal landmine of craziness. But hit the like button. This will be up on Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor, a place where you can get everything all in one place. It's been really good for the show. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to hit the outro, and Gaz will say, I think, what he always says. But thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next week. Oh, also check out my video that I put up this morning. It covers this with a lot of cool footage. So we're out of here.
I'm naked again.
I can't even hit the end. We're still